All right, you ready to dive deep into The Silent Patient today?
Oh, yeah,
It's a psychological thriller, one that really gets under your skin.
it does.
So let's unpack it together.
Let's do it.
We've got excerpts from the book,
Okay.
including Alicia's diary entries, which give us a glimpse into her mind before the murder.
Yeah, those are really, really fascinating, those diary entries.
They really are.
They give us so much insight into her world.
They do, and one of the things that really struck me was this electric fan
Oh, yeah.
that she carries everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
It almost feels like a character itself, you know?
It's more than just like a quirk, or some little detail.
Right.
I think the fan speaks to her need for control,
Oh, yeah.
in a life that feels increasingly chaotic.
Right.
Like she's trying to push away this encroaching darkness.
Yeah.
But it's a losing battle.
Yeah, it really is. And it's such a powerful visual, isn't it?
It
It's
is.
trying to create this little bubble of calm
Right.
amidst the storm.
Totally.
And speaking of storms, her relationship with Gabriel
Oh, yeah.
is far from peaceful.
Not at all.
I mean, those diary entries about their trips to Camden Market,
Oh, my God.
it's like watching a car careen towards a cliff.
Yeah,
You just see the disaster coming, but you can't look away.
exactly. And we see those cracks in their relationship widening.
Yes.
The love and tension
Yeah.
is all kind of intertwined with this simmering resentment.
Yes.
And then there's the stalker,
yeah.
a shadowy figure.
Hold on. Are you suggesting Max might be involved somehow?
Well, it's a possibility.
Okay.
The novel plants these seeds of doubt,
Yeah.
in our minds.
Right.
Is she imagining things?
She tells Gabriel about it,
Right.
but he dismisses her fears.
Yeah, is it a manifestation of her anxieties?
Right.
Or is something more sinister at play?
Okay.
The author keeps us guessing.
Yeah.
That's what's so compelling about this book,
That is.
You're constantly questioning
Yeah.
what's real and what's not,
Right.
and what's a product of her troubled mind.
Okay, so we've got this anxious, possibly paranoid protagonist in a troubled marriage.
Yeah.
And then, bam, the murder happens.
Yes.
The brutality of it is just shocking.
And that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, even in that moment of extreme trauma,
Yeah.
she chooses silence.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second.
It's crazy.
It's almost as if the silence becomes her shield,
Hmm.
a way to shut out a world that suddenly becomes unbearable.
Yeah.
And it's that very silence, that refusal to speak, that becomes the central mystery of the entire story.
Yes.
I know.
It's like she's locked herself away in a fortress of silence.
Right.
But what's she hiding? Is she protecting someone?
Maybe.
Is she truly guilty?
Possibly.
Or is there something else entirely going on?
Those are the questions that drive the whole narrative.
Yeah, they really do.
And to understand Alicia's silence, we need to look beyond the murder
Okay.
and delve into the mind of the man who becomes obsessed with her case,
Okay.
Theo Faber, the psychotherapist.
Ah, Theo. Now, he's a fascinating character, too.
Yeah.
He's determined to break through Alicia's silence,
Yeah.
convinced that he can uncover the truth.
He thinks he can fix it.
Right?
But there's more to him than meets the eye.
There is.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me about Theo.
Well, you see, Theo's own past
Yeah.
is just as intriguing as Alicia's.
Really?
He's carrying the weight of a difficult childhood, strained relationships,
Yeah.
and even struggles with addiction.
Wow.
It's almost as if he sees himself as a savior,
Oh, really?
someone who can rescue others from the darkness he himself has experienced.
So he's got his own baggage.
Oh, yeah.
But how does that affect his approach to therapy,
Right.
especially with a case as complex as Elisa's?
Sure.
Could his personal experiences be clouding his judgment?
That's a great question. And it brings us to this concept of the unreliable narrator.
Okay.
It's a clever trick authors use
Yeah.
to keep you guessing.
Yeah.
You see both Alicia through her diary and Theo through his observations
Yeah.
are telling their versions of the story.
Okay.
But can we trust either of them completely?
That's what makes this book such a page-turner.
It is.
We're constantly trying to figure out who to trust,
Right.
whose version of the truth to believe.
Exactly.
It's like a puzzle box where every piece seems to fit,
Yeah,
but the picture keeps shifting.
exactly. And as we dig deeper,
Okay.
we'll encounter a cast of supporting characters,
Oh, boy.
shocking revelations,
Oh, no.
and a twist ending that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew.
Okay, buckle up, you.
You better.
This deep dive is just getting started.
It is.
And in the next part, we'll unravel those layers,
We will.
explore the supporting characters,
Yeah.
and see how the concept of the unreliable narrator keeps us hooked until the very last page.
It's a wild ride.
It is.
Buckle up.
We left off talking about Theo
Right.
and how his past might be influencing his approach to Alicia's case. It's like he's looking into a mirror, seeing reflections of his own demons in her silence.
Yeah.
But before we get too deep into Theo's mind,
Okay.
there are other characters swirling around Alicia
Oh, yeah.
who add another layer of intrigue to this whole story.
They do. Each of them have their own secrets
Right.
and motivations.
Right, like Max Berenson,
Yeah.
Gabriel's brother.
Oh,
yeah. He's got this unsettling vibe,
He does.
doesn't he?
He does. And his actions raise a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Remember how he dismissed Alicia's concerns about the stalker?
Yeah.
And that comment he makes about her suicide attempt after her father's death?
Right.
Like, it wasn't serious,
Yeah.
but it makes you wonder if he's hiding something.
It's like he's trying to downplay everything.
Yeah.
Make it seem like Alicia's overreacting.
Right, exactly.
Speaking of suspicious characters,
Okay.
let's talk about Jean-Felix Martin,
Oh, yeah.
Alicia's art dealer.
Okay.
He's clearly captivated by her.
He is.
But is it just her art that he's interested in?
That's a good question.
I mean, he describes her as hugely
Yeah.
messed up.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely sees her brilliance.
As an artist.
Right. But he also paints this picture of a deeply vulnerable woman,
Right.
someone who's easily manipulated
Okay.
and prone to emotional outbursts.
Oh, wow.
He even compares her to a caged bird,
Hmm.
suggesting that her silence is a form of self-preservation.
That's an interesting image.
It
This caged bird.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if Alicia's silence is a choice or a symptom of her trauma.
Right.
Maybe she's trying to protect herself from a world that's only ever hurt her.
Exactly. And this idea ties back into what we were discussing earlier
Yeah.
about unreliable narrators.
Right.
We have Alicia's perspective through her diary
Right.
and Theo's through his observations.
Yeah.
But we're constantly reminded that they're both filtering events
Right.
through their own lenses.
Okay.
Remember the discrepancies between Alicia's diary entries
Oh, yeah.
and what Theo remembers
Yeah.
from their therapy sessions?
Those conflicting accounts are like little cracks in the narrative,
They are.
making you question everything you thought you knew.
Exactly.
It's like the author is daring us to figure out who to believe.
It's brilliant. It forces us to be active participants
Yeah.
in the story,
Yeah.
piecing together the puzzle along with the characters.
Right. And it's not just the people around Alicia.
Right.
Her art becomes a language of its own,
Oh, yeah.
a way for her to express what she can't say out loud.
Exactly.
Those paintings, especially the Alcestis self-portrait, are more than just pretty pictures.
They are.
They're like windows into her soul.
They are a way for her to communicate
Yeah.
with the world, even while trapped in this prison of silence.
Absolutely. Art becomes a form of therapy for her,
It does.
a means of processing her trauma.
Right. Think about the symbolism in her paintings,
Okay.
especially the one with the grove on fire.
Right.
It suggests a desperate desire to escape
Right.
the confines of her situation, to break free from the silence.
And then there's the recurring motif of Alcestis,
Right.
the woman who sacrifices herself for her husband.
Yeah.
It adds another layer of complexity
Right.
to Alicia's story.
Exactly.
Is she a martyr, a willing victim,
Right.
or is something else going on entirely?
The novel doesn't offer easy answers.
No.
And that's what makes it so captivating.
Right.
We're left grappling with these questions,
Yeah.
confronting the complexities of trauma memory and the power of art
Right.
to both reveal and conceal the truth.
And just when we think we're starting to understand,
Yeah.
the rug is pulled out from under us.
Totally.
You're talking about the climax, right?
I am.
That shocking twist.
The twist!
I mean, who could have predicted Theo's true identity?
It's crazy.
And those twisted motives.
Ugh.
To think the man who presented himself as a savior
Right.
was actually the source of Alicia's torment all along.
It's a masterstroke of suspense.
It is.
Suddenly, everything we thought we knew about Theo, his motivations, his entire narrative is turned on its head.
Wow.
He's not the savior he pretends to be,
Right.
but a deeply troubled individual,
Yeah.
driven by jealousy, obsession, and a thirst for revenge.
He manipulates Alicia,
He does.
preying on her vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
Orchestrating this elaborate psychological experiment
Totally.
to expose Gabriel's supposed infidelity.
Right. And this is where Alicia finally breaks her silence.
She does.
She reclaims her voice,
Yes.
revealing the chilling truth
Yes.
about Theo's actions and the events leading up to Gabriel's death.
It's such a powerful moment.
They do.
She refuses to be a victim any longer.
Exactly.
And in that final scene where she reveals that she remembers everything,
Oh, yeah.
even her final act of silencing Theo,
Chills.
it sends chills down your spine.
It's a chilling, thought-provoking ending
It is.
that leaves us with more questions than answers.
It does.
Certainly does.
The novel transcends the boundaries of a typical thriller.
It does.
It challenges us to consider the lasting effects of trauma,
Yeah.
the complexities of human relationships, and the enduring power of silence
Right.
as both a weapon and a shield.
But to fully grasp the depth of Alicia's story,
Okay,
we need to go back to the beginning.
back to her childhood.
Yeah, we haven't really explored that part of her life yet.
You're right, and I have a feeling it holds the key
It does.
to unlocking even more of the mystery.
Absolutely. The seeds of silence were planted long before the events of the novel.
Okay.
And to understand Alicia's final act,
Yeah.
we need to understand the events that shaped her into the silent patient.
Okay, so we've been unraveling all these layers of the silent patient,
Yeah.
exploring Alicia's anxieties, Theo's deceptions, and the roles of those around them.
Right.
But to really understand Alicia's silence,
Mm.
we kind of have to look at where it all began,
Yeah.
her childhood.
Yeah. It's like the roots of a tree.
It is.
To see why it grew the way it did.
Gotta look beneath the surface. Yeah, you have to, and remember how we talked about the lasting impact
Yeah.
of those early childhood experiences?
It's huge.
Well, Alicia's past really holds the key to understanding her motivations
It does.
and the choices that she makes.
Totally.
Her diary hints at a difficult upbringing,
It does.
but it's really through Theo's investigation
Right.
that we get a clearer picture of what was going on
Yeah.
in the Berenson household.
He's relentless in his pursuit of the truth.
He is.
Remember, he goes to visit Alicia's cousin Paul
Right.
and even tracks down her Aunt Lydia.
Yeah,
Those encounters are pretty revealing.
they are.
Remember Paul's description of their home life?
Yeah.
A place shrouded in silence,
Wow.
devoid of warmth and laughter.
She's sad.
And then there's Lydia,
Yeah.
who's clearly still harboring a lot of anger
Yeah.
towards Alicia even years after the murder.
Right.
Their relationship was obviously deeply fractured.
It's like a family portrait with all the smiles painted on,
Right.
hiding the cracks underneath.
Exactly. But the most chilling revelation comes from Lydia.
What's that?
She drops a bombshell
Oh, boy.
about Alicia's father, Vernon.
Okay.
She claims Vernon resented Alicia, even wished she were dead.
Wow.
I mean, that's not just a casual remark.
No.
That suggests a level of emotional abuse that
Yeah.
could have devastating consequences for a child.
And to make matters worse, she witnesses her mother's suicide
Oh, my God.
at a young age.
Yeah.
Imagine the trauma of experiencing something like that.
I know. It's no wonder she retreats into silence,
Right.
seeking refuge from a world that suddenly feels incredibly unsafe.
Theo has an interesting take on this.
He does.
He talks about this concept of psychic infanticide,
Right.
where a parent emotionally rejects or neglects a child
Yeah.
to the point of causing severe psychological damage.
Not just physical abuse.
Right.
That can scar a child, but emotional neglect can be just as damaging.
So it explains so much about Alicia. Her deep-seated anxieties, her fear of abandonment, her desperate need for control.
Right. It's like she's been silenced not just by the trauma of Gabriel's death,
Right.
but by the echoes of a painful childhood.
Exactly. And this is where the novel's exploration of silence
Yeah.
takes on a whole new meaning.
It does.
Alicia's silence isn't just a reaction to a specific event.
Right.
It's a lifelong coping mechanism,
It is.
a way of protecting herself from a world that repeatedly failed to understand or protect her.
Exactly.
So it's more than just shutting down. It's about survival.
Right.
She's learned to navigate a world where expressing herself
Right.
only leads to pain.
Yeah.
But then at the end, she breaks her silence.
She does.
What does that signify?
Well, that's the beauty of this novel.
Okay.
It leaves us with these thought-provoking questions.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
Alicia's final act can be interpreted in many ways.
Okay.
Is it a form of rebellion,
Okay.
a rejection of the labels and judgments placed upon her,
Okay.
or is it a step towards healing,
Yeah.
a recognition that she deserves to be heard?
The Silent Patient isn't just a thriller.
Yeah.
It's a story about the power of silence,
Yeah,
the complexities of trauma, and the search for redemption.
absolutely.
It reminds us that everyone has a story,
They do.
even those who choose not to speak.
And it challenges us to look beyond the surface, to listen with empathy, and to recognize that silence can be a powerful form of communication in itself.
So if you're looking for a book that will stay with you long after you turn that final page,
Yes.
we highly recommend The Silent Patient.
It's a great book.
It's a journey into the darkest corners of the human psyche,
It is.
and it'll leave you questioning everything you thought you knew
Right.
about guilt, innocence, and the power of silence.
And remember, there's always more to uncover, more to explore, so keep those minds curious and keep diving deep.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. You will be back next time with another fascinating topic, ready to unpack more ideas and share those aha moments with you. Until then, happy reading.